right? And so how do you do that? Well, you use this word called if, and then you use two equal signs, which is equality, right? Remember, one equal sign is not, it's assignment. Two equal signs is equality. User's guess and computer's guess would be your variables. And so it's comparing your variables, all right? And inside of the first curlies, that would mean that the variables were equal, they have the same value, so that means they won, right? The else is they weren't equal, and so you would say what? Use. You don't have to name your variables user's guess and computer guess, right? But just know that you need two variables, right? Are those variables created? No, right? So you need to create them. As what type? Okay? Why not?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, integer.
Integer, right? Because they're coming in as
I'm
numbers.
thinking of the.
Right, make sense? Questions on that?
Yeah, but extra work in this one.
Right, so you want to do the extra work. I am not going to tell you how to do it. Right? You'll need probably a loop, some other if statements, that kind of stuff. So you can look in your book to do it, but I'm not really going to teach you.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, and would you check it, disable something, and it's just.
Yeah, I'll check.
Make sure that we can go, or we can recommend.
Yeah, before you go down a terrible route, yeah, I'll do that. All right, other questions? So what are you doing right now? Live 2, right? You've probably been doing it while I've been talking. So you and your partner together, so you really only need one computer, right? Together, you're going to need to, right, look at compiling this code and seeing what your answers are. Fill out the answer sheet. I'll yell you a little bit to, like, if you haven't, like, switch twos on the keyboard to switch them. I'll also take roll in a second.
Wait, so why are you and Livestream do the same thing?
Because everything's always going good.
So on the third.
I know.
Everyone has like a namespace. I just want to go find one that'll work.
Right now, you just want to do. Yeah. I'm going
Just the size of
And then I just had to do that dot
What you guys got?
So if I just want to create like a new space, like that's just blank, would this be able to do it?
Like a new file? Yeah. And then hit save. And then create it.
I wrote the code.
What is it? In the folder. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you can write your code inside of there.
Okay, so then I can just start typing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Oh, you can't do that. We can. I don't know what you did wrong.
I literally changed nothing.
So we're just supposed to do all that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
These variables,
You should full screen it.
Oh, that's right.
sure.
So, a little bit lower, so it's just. Have you started number 7?
First one.
Yeah, so there's just the you don't have.
That just come up by itself.
I definitely changed.
Yeah, no, you won't be able to do that because we don't always know the values.
Do we type this in the program? I think so, so that it'll tell us the range. I think that's what it's saying, yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
So that's just like a note for yourself,
It's a
right?
Y. If I just put it's outside the
So like, you don't need this in the program for that's just kind of a note. And you want me to go down?
Yeah. Find the size of all the variable types.
Okay, let's see what happens. Responded with the code 127.
Let me take attendance real quick.
Try that again. Still says 127. So that means the size of the short variable is only 127. Let me try the other one. Let's try integer. 127. Line 1. No such file in the directory. That's why it didn't do anything. Because I need to rename this somehow.
Oh,
I don't know how to rename it.
they rounded
There. This one? No, I opened a new one called Untitled 1. Because it says in the lab.
Should name it main.cpp.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do
It says create a new file in Cloud9, and I made a new file. I can't rename it.
Austin, Brian, here, Daniel,
Here.
Marco, that's you, sir. Marco? Marco. Ivan. Here. Maddie.
Here.
Manny.
Hey.
Miguel. Alex. Here. Tim. Jan. Here. Richard. Ethan. Here.
Make a new one.
Sergio.
See, now it just says Untitled 1.
Daniel. Christina. Denzel.
Here.
Stein. Here. Brian. Brian.
There's gotta be a way to rename this.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Robert. Hayes. Ethan. Here.
It says replace.
Chris. Here. Sage. Here. Andy. Andy.
Rename variable.
Kyle. Here.
Oh,
Izzy.
all right.
Izzy. Russell. Taylor.
I just refreshed the page. Nope, that is not working. Maybe I go down here. Nope.
Maybe just create a new.
Oh, I could just do this. A new one?
Yeah, just right click right there.
Rename?
New file. Well,
New file.
new file, then rename.
That's a file, not a CPP file. I can rename this one. I must have created this somewhere.
Yeah, I just.
So it's got to
Where'd
be
it go?
somewhere. It's not this. It's like this. Okay, let me just delete it and try that again. Let's just put it right.
You can do both. Sorry.
Where the hell is it?
Yeah, I don't know why it won't let you.
Let's make a new, not a new folder. I think what he meant was, yeah, make a new file and then just put all this in it. So I'll just name it main.cpp.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I just make it a .cc. Now it's in Sin Reader. Doesn't matter. Okay, now I'll copy everything over. What the hell's going on? I can't close this page. Okay. Let me get all that. What am I doing? It's right here. I can just copy this. Okay, now we can actually get started.
There we go.
Okay, now I gotta rewrite all that. Okay, it should tell me. Okay, now it's running.
There we go.
2 bytes. All that for 2 bytes. Okay, so now I gotta go here, type it in. As short as 2 bytes. You should probably open up this file too.
Yeah, I have it open. 2.
Integer. Let us see. Run. The size of an integer is 4 bytes. A long integer? Or, yeah, a long integer, I'm assuming.
Long double.
Or just put long?
Long double, right?
Let me just type long and see what happens. 8 bytes. Float.
If you haven't, if you and your partner, if someone's taking over on the computer, can you switch keyboards? Give everyone a chance.
Here you go. Let's take that. Oh, by the way, when you can't just click this and it doesn't come up for some reason, so you have to like click Microsoft Edge. It's this one. Okay. And we're looking. You want to change the word going to double? Yeah, type double.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. If you just click this run button, we'll run the last stage. You click this run button.
You have to go down here and scroll. Oh.
So either get used to just always click select,
Okay.
right, or Alt 5.
That you have to minimize this. It's a touch screen too. Yeah, it's 8 bytes.
Long underscore double?
Just long space. Just yeah.
Short space.
Whopping 16 bytes.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then on the next one you can see how that
Character.
Yeah, you.
It just checks, but it doesn't matter. You already typed it correctly.
They're called insertion operator, and they separate all your outputs because you're outputting like integers and strings and characters, all these different things.
One.
And now, yeah, if you want
1 byte. It's a whopping 1 byte.
So there, yeah, that's the right answer. It's not 50,000, right? But it is the right answer. Yeah, these guys.
Yeah, I know, the cursor's there, but
Yeah, it's tricky. Right.
You don't want to do double work. So if you don't want to,
Okay, now,
So 816.
now for number 4, I have to open up Adobe Acrobat Reader. It says create a short variable and assign it the value of 50,000. Now output, what does it say? This is the wrong one. Okay. So make a short integer value of 50,000.
So in short, right? Right.
In short. Yeah.
In short. Assign it 50,000. So equals?
Yes, that's an assignment operator. Nope, you need to hold shift. Yeah. 50,000. And then so.
Oh yeah.
then allow us to do what?
And then run the program.
What is Bezos?
Maybe it's short in.
Too many spaces. That probably shouldn't be it.
Just get the value of one of them. And the one that you just stored gets overwritten by the
Error expected unqualified identifier equals. So this is incorrect.
Should be something
I think short comes before
The
integer.
only reason we need it is for
Oh, we didn't even assign an integer. Yeah, we should probably say a, and then say a equals 50,000, and then output it. Say out a and line. You cannot have forgot the semicolon. Okay. It says it exists.
So you scroll down, you made it a short, right? So
Oh, we're still on the pool.
I'm gonna. No, I mean it already displayed that. And then it displayed the value of A, right? But it gives me negative 15,536. So maybe we should write that down, and then if it asks why, we'll just say it's out of range. It's negative 15,536 out of range. It's negative 15,500. Yep.
Why?
It's out of range. Around 32,000. Okay, perfect. Now, what's number 5 then? Create a float variable and assign it the value. Oh, you already have it over there. Yeah. Okay. Now, make a float variable and assign it the value of whatever that number is. No, you don't need integer because it's just straight float. Integer is only for whole numbers. Yeah, for float we need just decimal, so you just need to say float b and then b and then b equals 1.234567899. I know it's gonna fail.
And right?
Yes. And then you have to put C out.
Okay.
And then you have to output the value of B
out.
Yeah.
Space?
You don't need a space. I just put spaces because
B looks nicer.
Yeah. And then end line.
Oh.
And now we run the program. You know why it stopped at 7? Why? Because float is only allowed to have 5 decimals. Because it limits it to 5, and then double is up to 15, and then long double is 19. Okay. So the reason why it stopped is because it's only limited to 5. No, it stops at 7 because it's 5 decimals.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Skip 6.
Oh.
So it's
I guess it did round up, but it stopped at 5 decimal places.
Yeah.
Because float only has 5 decimal places. What is it? 1.23457. Float can only hold a value of up to 5 decimal places. Awesome. Right. Okay, that one is 76. Create 2 variables named y and z. Make them a type of integer. Okay, y gets the value of 5, z gets the value of 10. Now write the following: y equals z equals 2. So 5 equals 10 equals 2. So that means what it's saying is y is going to be reassigned to the value of 2 because it reads from right to left. Yeah. Well, I'm going to write that anyway, so just see what happens. Make a value integer y. Okay, equals 5 and z equals 10. Yep. Because it's out of range. The range is like 32,000 something, so it's 15,000 away. So if we take, or something like that. Yeah, it goes over and it gives you a negative value. Well, if you looked at the lecture, it's like 32,000 something. Yeah. But I don't think 32,000 something minus 15,000 is like whatever. Just say it's out of range. You don't even have to put the exact value. Z equals 10, right? Yeah. Okay. And then y equals z equals 2. Y equals z equals 2. And then I want to display the value of y because that's probably what's going to happen.
What is the value output of y? Because float was only, I think, like 5 decimals.
Okay, something happened. Y equals z equals 2. Z is not declared. I'll put both of them. It says error z was not declared in this scope. That's output your variables. What are their values? Well, have a tiny problem. I'm wondering, because z is declared here, right? Or do I just write another line? I'll just write another line to be sure. And I'll just do integer z equals.
Now, because 7 would be out of 8.
Okay, now it doesn't make sense. Now it says y is not defined. 5 equals 10. Oh, this is a minus. Oh, whoops. Okay, let's try that again. 2. Because y was assigned the value of 2, because it reads from right to left. I find it amazing how I wasn't even paying attention to the lecture, and then I remember most of
It seems like you actually know what you're doing already.
Yeah.
I'm pretty new to this.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Well, then you write it down. I'm not, I mean, the reason why y was assigned 2, well, the value of z was,
So now
we have to output z as well.
yeah. So that would be the
Yeah. Okay. You are correct. It's also 2.
oh, we didn't do a space.
Now, you don't need a space. It's just,
It just makes it look nicer.
Yeah.
Easier.
well, I mean, you don't need a space because you already got the information you needed. So the value of y and z is 2, but the reason why is because it reads from right to left, so it says 2 equals z, but then since z is 2, it equals y, which y is not 2.
Yeah. And it replaces everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Write the program in pseudocode to swap the value of the
I grew up with this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I have to admit, there's some things where I get really frustrated, like freaking if then, or like, what is it? Forgot what they're called. Chris, what are those other loops called? For loops?
Yeah,
No, for loops. Just the other ones. Yeah, the for loops I hate so much.
I love for loops.
No. I mean, they're easier, but
The only
I
way
couldn't.
my game ran was
I couldn't understand for loops. I had to use while loops. Because
You can do more with for than while.
yeah, what really struck me was when they put in the value of I. I mean, you don't need the I, but they put I there to symbolize that you can just have that.
Well, it's just a stored value. You can then restore what you want into it.
Yeah,
Just basically setting it to 0 so that you can.
yeah. The logic of the whole for loop just confused the shit out of me.
You're literally writing the same thing though.
I know, because you're just declaring the variable outside the while loop, but in the for loop it's right there. So what makes you want to become a computer programmer?
I'm going into math, so this is
It
still interests me though. I mean, I
Because
just
it-
never got around to taking any.
the possibilities are endless. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
totally.
do anything with programming.
Yeah.
Like, when people make this, I mean, this is more like graphic design, but you need to know how to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, everything these days.
Exactly. Because people who write Adobe Photoshop program it.
Yeah.
See, it's like it all comes down to the programming. It all comes from somewhere. Okay, right from left, thus making the value of C 2 and making Z equal to Y, making it 2. So the thing about programming is that once you understand the logic, you're golden.
Yeah.
A lot of people just get confused when they have to learn like the vocabulary, which is one of the hard parts. But like once you understand the logic and how the computer reads it, like for example, when you say Z or when Y equals Z equals 2, you're just, if you think about it, you're saying that Y equals Z, which is Z equals 2, therefore Y is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So pseudocode.
Write a program in pseudocode to swap the value of two variables. So I'm going to write that in Notepad++ because I'm just going to write pseudocode, so I'm just going to write steps. Oh, is that the pseudocode right there? What? That? Oh no, that's 8. Never mind. Let's see.
So you just did the CLY.
Yeah. That's the only one.
Swap the value of two variables.
I'm going to try to write this in the easiest way possible for me because I'm trying to think about how to write that in pseudocode. Like, I think you're supposed to accept values from a user, and then you take the like let's just say you take an input from a user, A, and you take another input, B, and say take the value of A and replace it with the value of B. So you'll say A equals B. You say A equals B equals the value. See, that's the thing, it's confusing. So it's like, how do you, because like, you know how they swap the values of Y and Z by making it all equal to 2, right? I mean, you could just say, accept user input, but you have to take at least 2 inputs.
I returned 0 now.
Wait, no, you don't, because you can just assign the value of A and B, but then just say, give me a number. So they give you like 5 or something, right? So you say A equals B equals 5. Well, equals the number that they input. So that means you can swap the values of A and B by the number that they gave you.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how to store that value they gave you. You're just gonna have to write like another variable, like. Or you could just say they put in 5 and that's A, right? And you can say A equals B, so B is 5. That would be pretty simple. So we'll just say user or computer ask or user input input stored
Then go to the browser.
A
All windows in the browser.
variable around. Okay. Computer just changed my writing. Variable A. Variable B is assign value A.
So we want y to equal 10 and z to equal.
Just put value back to user. I mean, that would work, right?
Thinking about that.
Yeah, so you would say the computer asks for user input, and once they receive that input, it's stored in variable A, and then variable B is assigned the value of A, thus switching the values. Is that what they're asking? Hold on. Write a program in pseudocode to swap. Yeah, but he wants to swap the value of two variables, so we have to do two inputs. Okay. Okay, ask for another input. Is that how you spell vice versa? Or is there an E? I'll just put that.
Yeah, I think I get the picture.
So I'll just say computer asks for user input. Input is stored in variable A, and then ask user for another input. And then that input is stored in variable B. Variable B is assigned the value of A, and vice versa. We'll display the values back to the user. In it's pretty simplistic, I guess. It's 8. Okay. Write number 7 in C++. Okay. Here is the code, so I'm going to copy this and write it in here. Or just make a new one. Let's make a new file. No. New file. 8. You know, I'm going to warn you, when you become a programmer, you're going to have a very laid-back voice like me. I'm just warning you, because that's what happens. All right. Okay, so we have integer x is 5 and y is 10. Now, how do we switch those? What can you think of? Thinking.
Okay. Those are our two values. But on the computer,
I would say y equals x equals y. But that would say that 10 is x, and if x is 10, then y is 10. So we would have to say y equals x, and then x equals y. But then that value is destroyed.
Yeah,
so
you have to be careful so that you don't.
Yeah, because then that would disappear. So we would say if y is x, that means y is now 5, right?
Yeah.
So we would have to define we'd have to define,
So maybe create another variable and then store it?
Yes. So we just say y is nothing. So we just say it's nothing. So we say y is x, therefore it's 5. But we need to know, because y is 10, so there has to be a way to just swap them around. Because we could move them, but then that would destroy the whole idea, because we would have to know the value of y before we change it, right? Because if we just move it, then we're just reassigning the value, and that's kind of cheating. So we'll say y is x.
I'm working it out in my head.
And then something else. Because now y is 5. According to the computer, the y is not 5. So yeah, the value of y is destroyed. So I think we're thinking too hard on this.
Might be.
Because, I mean, we could just reassign the values, but then the computer wouldn't know before all this happened that y is 10. So we can just say y is x, and then x is... I'm just gonna try that, and then see out. X.
It only, yeah, I think because the
see what happens. Okay,
please,
something
before you
happened.
leave, turn in your cards.
I forgot semicolon.
You don't have a card. So you're trying to play.
See what happens now is it's 10.
So now we need to get
We need to get y equal back to 5. So we can just say y equals. We could just do this. If y is x, then that means x has to be equal to 5 or 10. Otherwise, the computer wouldn't know. That didn't make any sense. Okay, perfect. Okay. I mean, that's one way to do it, but that wasn't the intention. I mean, we have to make it so that, I mean, I can't tell you off the top of my head how to make it so that you type something in and then the user takes it in. I think it's like cin something. But
yeah. That works.
It works, but I don't think that's the correct way. Because
Keep it.
I don't know. We might want to talk to Luke about it. It means right there. Is there an example code of somebody taking user input? Let's go like to assignment 2, guessing game. Luke.
It's like if you, whatever.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem. Oh. Okay, because what I was thinking is, I could just...
You can't just say like x equals y and y equals x, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you're a third variable and you store either x or y in that variable, then you assign it. Look at what that picture right there is doing.
And then you can say that.
So we just make
So when I
it...
create a temp variable, I'm going to move this value down. That's step 1. Right? Temporarily hold the value of A in this case. Move B values over, that's step 2. So A becomes 10. Right? So A and B are now both 10, but I stored 5 in temporary.
And then just say B equals
Yeah,
B
equals 10. Yeah, you just got to introduce that third
We were
variable.
thinking too hard about that. Okay, let's just make another one. It's temp then. Okay, y equals x, so y is 5. But then we keep, oh, actually, no, let's store the value of x in the temporary variable. So x equals, no wait, sorry, temp equals equals x. So the value of x is now in the temporary variable. So now we can say y equals temporary. So now the y value is changed. Then you can say x equals. Or now the y value is destroyed. What I just did, now the y value is gone.
Well, it's in temp, right?
No, I put the value of x in the temporary variable. So temporary equals 5 now. Oh,
So
wait.
put one in temp and then transfer one to the other.
I'll just say x equals y, right? X equals y. And so I assign the value of x in temp. But then now I can change the y value to, because now it's to the next step. So I can say y equals temp. Okay, let's see what happens. Because if I put this after x equals y, it'll change the y value before it does that. So I say, I assign the value of the temporary variable to 5, which is x, right? And then I say x equals y, so I change it to 10. But then I say y equals the temporary value, so I just swap it back. But since the computer reads in order, it's reading y equals temp last instead of x equals y, so it changes it to 5.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'll give these parts back to you.
Yeah, right? I don't know.
You mind if I
What is that?
Yeah, core 2.0.
Can I not write it like that?
Oh, you know what? Ancient as fuck.
Yeah, you're both trying to.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I had it down on the motherboard and the RAM both failed at the same time.
Oh, it's just things like.
I have no idea what the fuck happened. I have an RNA fish, and it's gonna be a pain in the ass to ship. I don't know if they're gonna until I get all that shit sorted out. You know, yeah, I know. I don't have $400 to throw around. I don't even have $20 to throw around right now. So. Hey, this reason, bro. Yeah, at the time. It cost $1,400.
In 2009?
In 2009. Well, I didn't buy it myself. My dad purchased it. But better than Alienware. At least, I mean, this fucker went through a rollover and it still works. Like, I flipped an SUV on it, dude, and it still works. So, you know,
I used to have one like that. Would survive.
yeah.
You can throw it in the sand, it's boiling hot, you can throw it in the water and it will survive.
Yeah.
Use it in the shower.
That's what my dad abused the hell out of it.
I know you run a lot more code, but I should be.
Are we good?
If I want
I think
code,
so.
if I want.
Now I should probably copy this code and put it in the file here. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, because, like, ever since I got this thing, people will come up to me and ask about it, because, like.
It just looks so ahead of its time
Yeah.
that it hides the processing power. Like, I mean, if I saw it from here, I'd say that's crazy, like fast, right? But when I walk up, I see Intel Core 2 Duo. I'm like,
Oh, God.
that's 2006 technology.
I really wish they made laptops that you could upgrade, but for whatever reason they don't. I guess it's a form factor thing.
Well, the thing is, laptops are a whole different market. So you can get a desktop that's way better than a laptop for way less,
Yeah.
but laptops are portable. So that's the sacrifice you make.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, Why don't they make a laptop chassis that you could open up and work on? Like
ThinkPads you can. ThinkPads, but they're expensive. They're like almost $2,000. But they're like this thick, and you can put docks on them. You can take out all kinds of stuff. You can just swap it out. It's crazy. And Dell's used to be like that. That's how Xbox was made. They used Dell computers and just made a Frankenstein's monster, and they made Xbox.
Original Xbox or just
Original Xbox.
Yeah, no wonder that original.
They didn't have any funding. They didn't have any funding, so they went in and they said, okay, we only have like $20 and we have like 50 computers. Let's just stick them together. And then they made Xbox. And then Bill Gates came in and he's like, I'm going to give you guys a shit ton of money to produce this, and it better work. And it did.
Yeah. Original Xbox is definitely the best Microsoft console because the 360 had all the friggin' red ring bullshit, and then
They rushed the console.
Literally spyware.
They rushed the console too fast, so the heating technology was not ideal, so it
Yeah,
burned.
the sync was bad. Like I've had 3 red rings. I just stopped after the third one.
Did you use like the towel method, or did you?
I think I might have tried it once, and it worked for like 5 minutes before airing out again.
Well, the thing is, with the red ring of death, you got to fight fire with fire. So when it gets hot, you have to wrap it in a towel and get it so hot that this heat sink fails. It will actually not detect the heat because it's so hot. So it'll be like, oh, it's fine. It's actually crazy. The GPU heatsink has a temperature sensor, so if you heat it up so much, it won't even detect it anymore. So it will still run, but it'll ruin the life of the Xbox because you're killing it. You're literally killing it, but it'll run. But a lot of people had to do that because they want to get back on their Halo 3. And
I really did not like how the story turned out for that one. 1 and 2 were really good, and then 3 just ruined everything.
I mean, they're running out of funding, so they just said, well, I mean, this is going to be our last game, but then they sold the company to 343 Industries. Actually, they were owned by Microsoft, actually, but they sold the rights to Halo to 343 Industries. They ruined it. It's done. 4 and 5 are bad. they're so bad. I mean,
I heard that they were really delving into the lore and trying to make everything consistent with the books and shit.
They tried.
They tried and failed epically.
Yeah, the multiplayer's okay, but the storyline got ruined. Yeah.
Well, it's probably because they start bringing in book characters without no explanation.
It's like Star Wars. It's like Star Wars. Disney said everything that's in the books is no longer canon. So they said, okay, so Leader Snoke is not, we're not saying he's not Darth Plagueis. We're not saying that. We're not saying he is or isn't. But he's a Force user that just appeared out of nowhere, and he's bad. But Darth Plagueis was hiding in the shadows for all, like, millennia. Because he was controlling all of the other Siths, like Palpatine especially. He's the one who trained Palpatine. And then in the book, it even says that Palpatine struck him down, but it didn't say he died. It just said he got really drunk, and Palpatine struck him down, and that was the end of it. It didn't say he died, but in Episode 8, Leader Snoke just appears out of nowhere, so who the hell do you think that is? It's obviously Plagueis. But then people were like, oh, it could be like, you know, Darth Jar Jar or whatever. They're running out of ideas.
I mean, in their defense, Rogue One was really good.
Yeah, that was original.
Out of all of the new movies, I think that's my favorite new Star Wars movie. Like, Awakens was just.
Does that make sense?
It was.
They're trying.
The entire original trilogy.
You're trying to stop it
what they're trying to do is they're trying to get with all audiences. So they're trying to make a lot of jokes and a lot of adult humor.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to make children jokes, and they're trying to get all the audiences together, but that ruins it. Because George Lucas, his original intention for Return of the Jedi, he was going to make Luke Skywalker put on Vader's helmet and become the Dark Lord. But he said that wasn't child friendly enough, so he completely changed the story. And a lot of people,
How does that have made sense for his character arc, though?
because Luke Skywalker was not really he was more light than dark, but he was kind of balanced. He's witnessed both sides. He knows what the dark side has, and he knows what the light side has.
Well, so then maybe you agree with the novelization in Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would believe that Luke Skywalker is perfectly capable of doing that.
yeah, so would I, actually.
Because
I've done half my swap.
he's he's one of those A+ students, you know. No, he's one of the
I thought that was perfectly fine. I
yeah.
thought that was actually a really good place to take the character because it's interesting.
Because we forgot about him for so long. We're just like, oh, Luke's this perfect guy, and then he became the most badass Jedi because he was the only one left. He was the only one who actually respected the religion.
Yeah.
After that, it's gone. Because even Yoda said, he's just like, you gotta get away from the books and just think, like, what is it? Consciously, you gotta think outside of the box. You can't just rely only on the education. It's much wider than that. Because, I mean, Yoda even said, he's just like, well, he didn't really say this, but he's like, shit happens. I trained Dooku and then something happened.
Yeah, I really.
And Luke got so, Luke was more of a child, and Yoda proved that. He was saying, you know, you're a child because it doesn't matter who you train. Somebody's going to become the dark or lead to the darkness. Yes, when you're training a whole temple, there's a small chance that one of them's going to turn, and he sensed that, but he thought he could stop it, but he thought to himself, it's not the Jedi way, I can't kill my apprentice. So then Kylo Ren took it the wrong way, and shit happened. And that gave Kylo Ren more of a reason to join the dark side. So I would say it's Luke's fault for doing that.
Yeah.
I would say it's Luke's fault that Kylo Ren exists. And Rey was right. Rey was.
I thought that was actually, like, overall, The Last Jedi was surprisingly good. And it was a lot better than The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people crucified me for that. But
my favorite part was when Snoke.
God, that was great.
Everybody, we went to the early release, and everybody was like, yeah. They were just all screaming, and I'm like, holy shit.
Well, it was just, the movie was literally a series of curveballs, but
I think the movie was trying to become like 4 hours, but then they stopped when Finn got injured. Or not injured, the other lady did. The other lady got injured. That when she sacrificed herself to save Finn.
Right.
I think they decided to stop there because the movie would have became like 4 or 5 hours long. Because I didn't know when the movie was going to
I was
end.
actually kind of mad that she stopped, man. Because I thought that would have been a good ender for Finn.
But then there's a lot of the, you know, racial side of things. So, like, if he would have committed suicide to save the Resistance, then a lot of people would be like, oh, you know, because he's... Yeah, they kill a black guy.
Yeah, that's true.
But then if an Asian gets hurt...
Well, what if they had Poe do it? That would have been good. Because
Poe can't die.
Poe
He can't.
of the whole movie. So that would have been a great send-off for him.
You know, I originally thought that Poe was the good guy, but then I realized that he was thinking like a star pilot. You know, like he was thinking in the moment, we got to do this now, but he's not a military strategist, so he should have let that lady do what she was doing. Because when Leia woke up, she was like, she shot him. She's just like, you're relieved of your duties, Captain or Admiral, whatever he was.
Oh, God. I'm going to miss Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, she was supposed to be in the next movie, but it's not gonna happen.
That's what I mean. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with the next.
Oh, Carrie Fisher's cruiser got stuck in deep space and got absorbed by a black hole. I mean, yeah.
It's just like, I think how I would solve it is probably so that, like, maybe